next round. If you lose 3 games, you go home and tears will be shed. Here are the standings from day 1. Oh, actually, no, we're going to have the matches first. You can see we're going to start the day with QB Fire versus Gambit. We're going to work. And then we're going to have, after that, SK Gaming versus Mouse Sports, a very spicy game. Virtus Pro versus Fnatic, Big versus Na'Vi, and we're going to end the day, of course, with that Danish derby, Astralis versus North. So these are the standings, and you can see here a lot of the legends didn't get on very well on the first day of the new Legends stage, and actually lost, which makes the tournament absolutely crazy, doesn't it, guys? Well, what result really stood out for you yesterday?
I think still the VP QB Fire game. I mean, you have to look towards that one because sure, VP is always a question mark coming into a tournament, at least lately, but against an opponent like QB Fire, really expected them to pull through. So very disappointing in that regard, and Vega continues to impress.
And what about you, Anders? The image I have is you crying in the green room as Astralis got absolutely battered.
I mean, that did also happen, so that's probably why you have that image. But I mean, I think it's not just that Astralis lost to Mouse Sports, it's the way that they did it. Because I can accept Mouse Sports beating Astralis in a best-of-1 on LAN. I think they're a good enough team that, like, I don't think that little of Mouse Sports. It's just that it has to be a close game, you know. It can't just be Astralis getting completely rolled off the map, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, it was super disappointing, and that has to change.
Right, well, we are starting with an absolute cracking game today. Gambit looked very good, and so did QB Fire. They destroyed Virtus Pro 16-3, and Smix had the opportunity to sit down with Waterfalls earlier today.
Hey Waterfalls, we're at day 2 of the new Legends stage already, and in the days after the qualifier, how did you and the team choose to spend their time?
We used this time to practice a bit. We practiced a few top teams like Na'Vi and SK. I think we played really good, and it's boosted our confidence, and so you saw it in match versus VP.
Yeah, definitely. I remember you told me in the past, in the qualifier, that when your team knows that it can beat a team, it gets more nervous. But in this case, you guys seemed confident all the way through against Virtus Pro. So was that the case? Did you not get nervous at all?
Because Virtus Pro is still top team in our mind, so it wasn't like we flash. And yeah, we knew that like we are better aimers than them, and they are more tactic team. So if we like have our aim on point, we can win. So we wasn't nervous.
Well, hopefully you can keep this going, because up next you have a tougher CIS team opponent in Gambit. How did you guys prepare against them? Did you study demos, or was it more about focusing on the little things you did wrong already and just strengthening your team?
We focused on our gameplay a bit, and our coach watched their demos a bit. He will say for us some things maybe, but we didn't really focus on their game. We will try to play our game, so maybe we can win against them there.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Waterfalls, and good luck today.
So, QB Fire, many people said they were the worst team left in the tournament. That might be true, but you wouldn't have known it from how they performed yesterday, Janka.
Absolutely not. I mean, I love the fact that all these underdog teams coming into this tournament and these matchups, even in the previous stage, they're not playing scared, you know. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They put in a lot of work in thinking of a game plan against the specific opponent they're playing. And, you know, yesterday QB Fire executed that game plan perfectly against Virtus Pro. Obviously, it's always going to be a case of their opponent underperforming, at least slightly, but, you know, they're doing their job so far.
Yeah, and Anders, what did you make of them? Because, you know, a lot of people wrote them off. I don't think anybody went for QB Fire in the predictions, and a lot of people tweeted at me telling me they definitely did. I know they're lying, of course. It's easy with hindsight, but, you know, could this team be one that actually upsets again today?
I mean, the interesting thing is, I think in the talent predictions, everyone actually went for Gambit anyway. So I think they have made an impression, just maybe not enough to change people's minds. But the same was true with Gambit in the last major. You know, Gambit was one of those teams that everyone underestimated. So this is just how Counter-Strike works. You know, you get on the stage and everyone will question you for a long time until you keep proving it. I think this team can keep doing that, especially given again the best of one format. I think they're a super exciting team. I mean, it's almost like this tournament is sort of a clash between the hungry people that know that this is how they make the career, to sort of show up here and really prove themselves, and then a lot of the Legends teams that sort of just rock up, a little bit late to the party and say, oh, I guess, we'll get things started now, but it hasn't really worked out well on day one.
No, it definitely hasn't. I'll stay with you, Anders. Obviously, they're going up against Gambit. And as I said, I mean, perhaps we should be talking about these guys as contenders. They're the reigning champions. Nobody's really brought them up when we've been talking about potential winners. I think they're a good team. I mean, a really, really good team.
They're so impressive. And the story for this team when they were made was obviously these, well, some of them known characters. I mean, Adren and Mo and Doja, but, a couple of other unknown quantities in there, and then he sort of tried to forge this team, and they made it. And I thought everyone was thinking, as soon as Suze is out, that's it. They're done. And that didn't happen.
I fell into that trap.
Yeah, me too. I was on that boat as well. And then Adren somehow sort of took up the mantle of leading this team. He did a remarkable job, and individually, he's such a strong player. Then they sort of happened to pick up Fitch out of nowhere, and he turned out to be an absolute superstar. So I don't know.
Flashbang. a no.
Hopefully you do, because this is how I am best at the desk more often than not. Gambit, one of my favourite teams to watch, and Adren is one of my absolute favourite players. I call him the Clutch King with 100 ping, because even when he was based in the middle of nowhere, he was still wrecking fools online, and now he's on LAN. Even more dangerous. Where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I think Gambit all the way. It's a really funny storyline, and bring up that point with Adren is really interesting, because I wonder if there was some tears in his eyes when he saw a Vanguard making such an unexpected and deep run previously, almost made it through to this stage, but got denied by Liquid in the end. His fellow Kazakhstani members must have been a bit of nostalgia for him, but indeed it's a very interesting storyline from the perspective of the fact that Gambit are a team where they're defending major champions. It's like no one ever expected that to be the case, and so they have so much to prove. Fitch here at his first major as well. Lots of stuff to prove for this team. So let's see if they can get off to a good start here on the T side. Already making their way up Banana.
Yeah, just got second mid, so maybe he can stop a rotation should it come in. But Gambit have just taken presence towards Banana. They won't commit to anything just yet, quickly moving back down again. Perhaps looking for a reaction from QB Fire, and it's an experienced team perhaps. Adren maybe getting a read of a rotation. Seems QB Fire are going to move back and play as defensive as possible towards A. And the lack of presence towards B almost has everybody rotating for QB Fire. They're really trying to stay ahead of the game here on Inferno. Kvik is making his way towards the arch position or library. And QB Fire seem content to play the crossfire in the A sites.
And it's going to be quite tough, I think, for the QB Fire once the distance is close by these Glocks. We'll see if they can pull it off. There's two players. Right behind him. Ooh, no, able to trade out though, so things not looking too shabby here. To swap at the gun though will not allow a quick enough draw for any fragging, and that's going to be now Gambit in a lot of trouble, just down to Fitch, and he's going to be annihilated as well. So I stand corrected. QB Fire ready, waiting with 4 players in position. Gambit perhaps a bit too telegraphed overall.
Yeah, I mean it's great to see again QB Fire being the underdog. It's great to see those are just some flying stickers. Don't worry about those. Great to see them not afraid to take a risk. The pistol round, again, B has its problems if you lose it, especially on the pistol, but they're willing to put that 4th person towards A early and commit to it. And you've got to be brave. I think it was, I want to say it was Dupree who said that CSGO at the moment is a confidence game like never before, and that's a perfect example of it from QB Fire.
Oh yeah, they definitely have looked nothing but confident so far, but it's all about dealing with this force buy, and some damage here could be done, but able to evade a frag from Hobbit there. Get it, he looked really good for that, but is taken down and did only a little bit of damage in return. Now Gambit have created some presence in the apartments just to sow the seeds of doubt perhaps for the
The Joker trampling on the flowers, the pretty flowers as Valve calls them. Fitch will get taken out and Jimco will reposition, although he's in a red and his teammate's dead, so as you see him immediately slow down there, he can't really take that close quarters engagement at this point. Needs to buy time for his teammates to rotate, try and hold position, but he can't. Adrenaline with a great peek with the CZ.
They may go for a force buy ahead, knowing that they did so much damage. There is definitely an argument for it. We'll have to see though if there's anything prepared for a situation like this, which would then give them great consideration.
To reload, looking to harass Boomich, I think it is, towards the position, but the push is coming in.
Oh man, this worked out so perfectly. You won't always see this. What happened there, for those of you that aren't familiar, is that in the meta, it's actually, if you think that there's a Glock eco, then rushing down mid way to play that round. But obviously with and grenades, that's not exactly the optimal choice. So that completely caught QB fire. That's brilliant from for Gambit's perspective.
I haven't picked up any weapons from that push though. Still 3 CZs on the players who started with them. We have some Molotovs going towards New Box, trying to flush out what remains of these CTs on B, but nobody's there. And now you have to question what QB will do. I think they have to hold on to their weapons at this point. It would be suicide to try and recover this round, especially with the damage on the players who are still alive. And that might lend itself to an indicator of the experience comparison. QB Fire, it seems they made an error in that they didn't consider what their opponent might try to do based on how that round went for them. Or maybe they did and just chose to push anyway. But
no, I think you're absolutely right. I think the good default way of thinking about that situation is, okay, well, if the round was different and they, let's say Gambit, okay, maybe they got the bomb down, but in like 1 kill or something, it's very unlikely they'll go for that. But as you say, they got 4 kills. Then it becomes very likely that a force buy is going to be, a very good argument for Gambit. So I think you're completely right in that assertion, and that's something that QB5 have to make sure they don't drop the ball on in the future rounds to miss. It really put them behind. It's great though that they had the understanding, the cognizance to actually say, hey, let's just save these guns. Let's just give it up to Gambit, let's save what we have and have a good follow-up round, as opposed to maybe trying an awkward retake that may not work.
tactical timeout from QB Fire. Refocusing the troops. An MP9 has been picked up, and FAMAS, presumably. So the buy is reasonable. For the most part, the CTs have got full grenades. So they're well equipped to fight back in this round. One of these teams will be broke after this round. This is an important round to get an early start here on Inferno. First match of the day.
Wish I had one of the translation devices so I could translate for everyone, but alas, I only really understand English, James. I'm not a language expert, unfortunately. Maybe one day. Get a Rosetta Stone out. But for now, we are resuming play and really looking to get some grenades there into Banana. But the presence from Gambit there is fairly light to begin with. Again, you could usually expect maybe way more grenades up there from the T side, but this is also a cool approach. They've actually saved a lot of their grenades, have Gambit, and they can sort of
Grenade flashbang into Banana. Meanwhile, there is an exchange of fire towards the A bomb site. You can often, if you are on GoTV, see a T standing on the steps into apartments very early on. That's where they throw the flashes over into Banana to re-aggress the position. There's action all over the site, actually. Those are 2 fast picks towards the A site, but they were going to take Banana as well. Medina, the last man standing on the A site, and he's the last man to fall. And I think it's the save territory once again from QB Fire. Vic's making his way in. He's got 1 pick early, but Mo surely has a superior angle. angle, 2 versus 4, and I think the options have been taken away. And again, we spoke about the implications of this round and the lack of money on both sides, so whatever QB5 can hold on to at this point would be fantastic. Mo and Fitch, however, are closing the nets.
Yeah, I think this was a pretty awesome run. I don't think they expected Indeed to essentially have such a good argument to go into A. I think they're just trying to clear top mid, honestly, just take the battles, force the CTs back a little bit, and even would have been happy with a trade kill. But yeah, that worked out much better than expected, I think, from Gambit's point of view. And this is the danger, is that I think from Gambit.
I think his information is good because Gambit are moving into the stack.
Yeah, but this should be fine if they have appropriate use of the remaining Molotov. It would be really nice for new box, but maybe they can just shoot their way to success as well. That's so far doing the damage, doing the job, and it's just Velina now with that MAC-10, who's perhaps even considering a save or a cheek. Sort of exit, or rather just sit and look for an exit frag in a very cheeky spot. But I suppose if you're playing the pit, that's going to be somewhat predictable. So let's see if he can get something here. I don't know if he's, you know, I feel like everybody has to be watching these Hutchie demos and just Vega demos in general. They seem to be, they've known something about MAC-10, seems to know. So
I was the first when it came to MAC-10s.
But can you make it look like an AK-47, because that's what Vega have been doing.
I am MAC-10, Dan.
So 3-2, Gambit take the lead, and QB5 back in with a buy, but we can't imagine there's much utility for them, and indeed they are lacking there. But what they lack in utility, we'll see the difference in the AWP from Waterfalls. So would expect a more round with less thrown early, but let's see if that works out for them.
For those of you on GoTV, I would pick a Dren because, again, he's one of my favorite players. Always awesome to watch. I was going to say Mo is as well, although this isn't really the most exciting map for him necessarily. Waterfalls will get the better of him on this occasion, so maybe for QB Fire, we'll look at Waterfalls as well while he has AWP. I mean, he will be integral to victory for QB Fire, at least on the CT half with that AWP. He has an important job. And now we have to focus on how Gambit can negate him. Waterfalls still with an angle towards mid. And you can see he's not looking at Boiler, just looking at mid, which means that Boomich will be keeping an eye on the Boiler position from the other side. And there he is. So keeping a tight angle, trying to avoid flashbangs if he can. Of course, they can come over the roof as well, but can't really account for everything. Such is the nature of Counter-Strike. Gambit moving away from the banana possession, investing more people towards A, it seems.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't think Adren could ever possibly read the situation. They just spent so much time in the apps, so much time clearing it out, and all of a sudden, you've got Boomich in there, taking down Doji. Adren gets a trade frag. Very surprising positions that Gambit just simply did not read. This has worked out wonderfully well for Quantum Bellator. Fire, as they now look to close things down, just holding these positions. The time is going to force the hand of Gambit as they start to push the A site. Waterfalls with another nice frag, and it will be finished off by Velina. Should be able to grab his AWP indeed. And wow, I was going to say though that I love how between Adren and Dozier, the routine of how they take the apps, but that super late apps push, that really was fantastic.
Yep, attack is often the best form of defense. QB5 getting their Manchester United on. And it's nice because I think Gambit thought that they had forced QB Fire back, forced him away from short. You saw Mo just running into the short position with the AWP, and I think it was Waterfalls who was just waiting for him. No, Mo got second that earlier. Whoever it was got wrecked pretty quickly.
Died first, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the short position later on. Yeah, QB Fire are just They play the unexpected game to a T, but let's see how Gambit can adjust. A bigger focus on Banana. Look at the smokes they have to play around. Surely Kvik won't be detected. Almost waiting for someone though, and he will get the kill. Just about, but that is a high variant situation. Oh, Waterfall, does he go? Doesn't even spam one time. Imagine if he did. But maybe they feel like it would suggest that there are two people towards A, and there'd be a fast play from Gambit. That could be why he doesn't want to take the shot. Either way, he has reset his situation, so it's a double CT play because Junko is boosted up. He's on the flower bed. Man doesn't like flowers.
This is actually interesting. I mean, Gambit are in a spot where they just have to go together now. At this point, they don't really have utility left that they could just spend to use on map control. They've got to take a side with it, and they pick B. This is good, though. They forced players away from top mid, but also to the B defense. So it's a double-edged sword because Quantum Bellator, they don't know what's going on, but they've decided to gamble on B. Gambit will go into B, but at least Gambit are going to have some grenades to go with. If they can, I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to flash Waterfalls off this angle, but actually they'll go for it. It's not quite fast enough, but he'll still miss the shot, and there's a chance here. Boomich with the cover there, taking down a Dren. Waterfalls able, thanks to the support from his teammate, Boomich in the site, falls back to a very good position, continues the damage. Waterfalls, Boomich, and then Jumka for the finishing blows. A very nice defense there from them, and a great gamble too. They read, or well, they made the correct read, essentially, with the limited information that they had. Well, Quick actually bought an AUG. I respect that.
4 people surviving in that round for QB Fire. I can't imagine Kvik bought that on purpose because he has a HE grenade and that's it. So that's got to be fat fingers on the keyboard. Fat fingers on the keyboard. The AUG with a higher armor penetration rate, but very difficult spray to handle, that is for sure. Waterfalls, he knows there's no AWP to challenge him this time, so he'll go for that pit play. Inferno's not like it used to be. You'd often see CTs looking for that angle, but not now. Seems all the more difficult. Très difficile, as the French would say, in a terrible accent. Lots of Horosh shouting from QB Fire. Oh, numbers game for Waterfalls. That Molotov is not something they can afford to go through, but they'll do it anyway since the numbers are low. Fitch and Dozier trying to do anything they can, but anything seems to be nothing, as nobody is dead yet for QB Fire. Dozier has one play, the flashbang through the smoke, running into the sights. I don't know if you can hear that, but QB Fire are in very good spirits. They are the closest team to us at the moment, Gambit on the other side of the studio, and they're pretty comfortable with how things are going at the moment.
Yeah, it's really dangerous when the sort of newcomer team gets, like, very confident. Obviously, that's, something that we've seen, go up and down for QB Fire, and I think a lot of it was to do. I mean, we saw the very first interview that Waterfalls had. He was very nervous, but now they're getting some matches under their belt. That win versus VP, I think, was so important because said to them, VP are still a top team, and to the rest of us, they're a bit of a wild card, but that obviously served to really help them out here. So let's see if they can convert that confidence into a victory. They have regained momentum, but here comes the abs push. 2 men there to battle it, and the trades will be in. Waterfalls in a very tight spot. Oh, that's a nice shot down onto a Dren. Gets out of there as well, and there is no way to pursue him right now. Waterfalls has done so much work, but still, more to be done. Spots the next one as he looks to change the angle, but Hobbit catches him, finally.
The AUG might actually come into play with the scope towards the pit position. The bomb's planted. He knows somebody's on the site, if not double stack. Maybe the sound cue gave it away. Repositions as the smoke disappears. Jumka delivering a goal. And it's Dozier 1 versus 2, 1 versus 1. Can he do it with the AUG? He can. What a ridiculous situation. More shouts of Horosh from QB Fire. Never heard so much Horosh in my life. This is a great shot. This second shot from Waterfalls. Sorry, the third shot even. It's such a challenging angle for him, and to deliver a kill like that, considering how much he can see, that is nuts.
My goodness. Love it. I'm actually really sad that the AUG had to be exchanged for the AWP. I think it's a very close call,
That was great from Waterfalls. Player loss for QB Fire.
So,
Malodets.
I love it. They're so hype. Coach is going absolutely mad. 7-3. They've really regained full control here. It would actually be awesome if we could see, you know, Gambit sort of like their desk, because it's almost like opposite QB Fire. Just it would be awesome just to see that disparity of energy. Gambit very chilled out at the moment, from what we can see, but we see Zeds out again, and they have had success in the past with them, so let's see what they can get here. Waterfalls again, Brazen Peaks. Jumka gets his orb working as well. Never a doubt.
These guys are warmed up. And it's been great rifle support for these sniper rifles, whether it works out or not. This time it doesn't. And there are weapons to collect here for Gambit. But Adren, he's so smart. The clutch king of 100 ping picks up an M4. There's a man advantage now, and they're all on rifles, these Gambit players. QB Fire have a lot of money in the bank. There's already an AWP on Gambit, so they don't really need to be concerned about giving one up. Waterfalls and Velina. Smoke's just gone down. That's a problem for them. Velina will deploy a smoke of his own. Really hard. How do they get through this? Waterfalls. Does he push through a smoke with an AWP? Here comes Velina. Waterfalls holding angles. Dozier's been spotted. Where are the other two, though? That clock is ticking. They both have kits, DCTs. Velina finding something through the smoke, but not a kill. And he might have to back off and leave his teammate to die. I don't know if Waterfalls can get out of this. Gets a Molotov kill, though. Trying to escape now. And Hobbit's got the angle. Hobbit's dead. Adren, more importantly, saves his own weapon at this point. Everyone else dies, though. Gambit back to winning ways.
And it looked so good. This looked so convincing at the beginning, but that's on the Banana defense to die instantly. And especially when you give away an AWP on that defense when the bomb is for post-plant, the AWP is so strong, especially on that B-bomb side. So it gets very hairy indeed. So maybe a little bit of overconfidence, maybe a little bit of just being too hyped. You know, that is something that can come into play if you're a very new team and this is a new sort of stage for you. The adrenaline is going to affect you a lot more than it would a team like Gambit, who have incredibly seasoned players.
It didn't look like the most amazing push from Gambit on Banana, however. There is a flashbang when you're coming up Banana towards the car position, which is now a bunch of barrels. The wall behind it, to the right-hand side, it has a window. I don't know if the obs can bring that up, but there's a window there. And if you're coming up Banana and you throw a flash just to the right-hand side of the window while you're running, it basically lands behind the sandbags. So if somebody's standing... So you force the people off your angle. So I think there's better timing for the push that they seem to do in that round, which definitely helped QB5 get off to a good start in that round, despite the fact that they lost it 7-4. And things have been made expensive for QB5, having to rebuy everything, and that will mean for the time being
as your opponents. You play a slower rounds, you let the CTs throw all those aggressive grenades initially, then the utility sort of stop to even out a little bit, and that's really where Gambit are at right now. When we've got 50 seconds left, they're starting to clear top mid. Right now, QB don't seem to know exactly what's going on. They have, right now, Boomish sort of floating between A and B. Oh, and that's a very, very important pick from Mo. There's 35 seconds left. They were picked towards A right now.
Team now 17 seconds as the flank comes in. Boomish and Jumka moving towards the arch position, but there's a smoke down, which has just disappeared. 2-on-2, 10 seconds to plant the bomb. Hobbit doesn't know what's safe. Dozier must hold the angle. Going for his reload, though. And nobody's rechecking arch just yet, but Hobbit will surely be looking in that direction. Now he is. Pop out from somewhere. Got to look for a trade, try to get down to the pistol. Go for the shots, but not enough. Asking a lot from Jumka, wasn't able to do it. Gambit continue the comeback.
There's that very important pick from Mo. Again, that pick from Mo came at around, I think, 35 seconds left. If If Mo's unable to get that pick, I think life is so much more difficult for Gambit, because at that point, the flank was happening. QB Fire already worked out that it was going to be an A push, so the flank was already on the way. So if that pick doesn't come, then it slows the push down for Gambit. The flank just crushes the round. They won't. I don't think they even get the bomb down. So very fine margins for Gambit to take that round, and now they've actually broken the money. Finally of QB Fire. So the Mach 10 is out on Hobbits, and they'll take top banana.
Hobbit can be very aggressive. Those are the grenades, just as I mentioned. Right side of the window, goes behind the sandbags. Anybody hiding around the corner would be...
From Gambit to try to take banana, and indeed, they'll actually sprint straight up banana with all the grenades. And so this is what you can expect when they do have more utility to burn, and it's going to be a very fast take here. They can leave a player up there as they start to clear the rest of the map. Gambit, so far, have shown us very good fundamentals from this perspective of running these defaults, taking away as much map control as they can. The one thing that they need to do now is create some presence in the Dozier's on the case though with that, and of course the Dozier Adren combo is the combo of Gambit that's are responsible for this portion of the map in their default.
Ooh, is Boomich standing on a teammate? I believe he is.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Boomich on head. Get your hashtags in. Dozier able to avoid. Got to commit to the bomb plant. Surely it won't work out. Boomich goes straight into the crosshairs. He needs to reload. Another AK. He's out. So many. QB Fire, round number 8.
I almost expected the ace there, Dren. Absolute monster, but not this time. QB Fire looking to be pretty good actually at the end of this half. 8 or 9 rounds is definitely pretty good, but as you say, like these crossfire absolutely devastating. And it's happened more than once now that Gambit have been essentially too slow, and QB Fire, they work it out pretty damn quickly as to what's going on, and immediately they have the rotation in there. And so just need to either be quicker or they need to make things a little bit more obscure, or maybe run a fake if QB Fire are very happy to just rotate very quickly. That's when fakes become really powerful. So Waterfall was just going in, man. Just going in, just pushing deep down banana, looking for those frags, and he's going to get one.
He was not expecting to escape that situation. He was at the point of no return, and he managed to return anyway. So that's pretty good stuff. Rotating back towards the A site now, keeping Gambit surprised. And I think Gambit definitely needs to review this half after the match, whether they win or lose, because again, QB Fire in a number of rounds have read. I think it's just a lack of noise that Gambit usually make, maybe with grenades and so on, if they're going to make an execute. Dozier taken out in the balcony position, and there's more info. He was the only person lurking towards A, so Gambit have got to go fast on B now.
this could be somewhat of the difference. There's not the 4 players here ready to receive the push, but there's only 3, and they have been somewhat staggered by this use of utility. Dren should have the kill onto one of the players. Oh my god, Dren! I have no idea how he picked up those 2. Down to 18 health, and again in a position where to win the round he has to ace. Just going for the bomb plant there. They are going to play it safe here. Gambit, surely Adren can't do this. They did line up, but there's just no way Adren can win that one. And it's a 9-6 scoreline at the end of the half. That's really impressive here from the likes of QB Fire.
I like the fact that Adren, it's a small thing, but he committed to the bomb plant last time. I think because last time he faked the bomb plant and he shot one guy in the face immediately, I think he had to read the guy was unlikely to re-peek him despite it being a 3 versus 1. And he was right. He got a free plant. The guy running backwards out of construction, respected Adren, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately. At that point, the bomb plant was inconsequential, and it was all about winning the round, but it wasn't enough. 9-6. I think this is a pretty monstrous score for QB Fire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that most would not have expected them to have such a strong half against Gambit. Obviously, the result against VP, you know, a lot of us, I think all of the talent, and I'm sure almost everyone at home predicted VP because it's just hard. It's always difficult, VP. Again, they're in a sort of place all by themselves. It's a complete wildcard team. You never know what's going to happen with them. You know that they can beat anybody, but they can also lose to anybody. So obviously that did... It was one of those things where if we look, we can't read into it too much, but QB5 definitely generating, I think, a lot of respect just through this half alone.
I think we could sum it up as this major potentially being a breakout event for QB Fire. Certainly the story so far, and how far can they go, only they can tell us. They have a great opportunity now, because obviously if they win this pistol, we're likely looking at a 12-6 scoreline, and that may be too much for Gambit to recover from. Time will tell. You wonder if there's added pressure in a situation like this versus a lesser-known opponent than your usual, arguably stronger opponents. We'll find out. 10 seconds remain until this pistol gets underway. Dozier will be the grenade man for the CT side with the defuse kit as well. I think on Gambit's T side we saw 2 players holding grenades, but for QB it will just be Velina. No P250s dropped for the players either, just grenades and Glocks.
Straight up Banana, keep things simple. As the saying goes. Already a good amount of nade damage. Actually, maybe that's just a dink straight onto Mo. That always feels bad when you're on the CT side. Feels kind of like you're useless. One bullet will finish you off. So poor Mo. Now I can see QB Fire actually sort of back here. This can be really smart because you can sometimes catch a CT that's trying to set up a flank or a contain and then overwhelm them and then open up another bomb site. So this is one of the reasons why the movement sort of, you know, the whole position and then doubling back not only makes it a question whether you are going to the other side, but also you can catch players. So I like this from QB Fire, and now they'll decide to actually make their way in. Oh, that flashbang got absolutely everyone. It's about converting it into kills, and they only got 1.
Yeah, but there's still a round to fight for here, and QB still have 3 players on the site, but they've got to be really careful about where they peek from because the CTs are everywhere. Dozier taking out Boomic. Kvik and Jumka remain. Kvik doing what he can again in fear.